Welcome to old Buddhist philosophy, where ancient wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers through patterns, through symbols, through numbers that appear when the soul is ready. Today we are not here to read digits, we are here to decode divine frequencies, to uncover 6 sacred vibrations rising in July, aligned with celestial tides, karmic shifts, and the subtle mathematics of the universe itself. You didn't find this message by mistake, it found you, because you're ready to remember. These aren't just numbers, these are portals, keys, timeless energies that move silently beneath the surface of reality, appearing in dreams, on clocks, in receipts, on pages you didn't mean to notice but couldn't ignore. They come when you're aligning, when the soul leans forward, when destiny opens just a little wider. And this is not superstition. This is synchronicity, what Buddhist teachings call pratya samutpada, the dependent arising of all things. As Nostradamus once wrote, when the stars align and the numbers repeat, destinies unfold. Baba Vanga called them living codes, frequencies that shape outcomes and awaken inner knowing. And in this rare window of July 2025, these codes are louder than ever. They are here to guide you towards something deeper, something richer, something already alive within you. So if you've been feeling it, that gentle tug, that strange repetition of numbers, those nudges you can't explain, you're not imagining it. You're being spoken to. From the unseen, from the cosmos, from your higher self. These 6 numbers are sacred mirrors, reflections of your path forward, toward clarity, abundance, healing and soul alignment. And at the end, there is one final number, a bonus vibration, a master key for those who are ready, not just to dream, but to activate. So take a breath now, a full one. Let it circle through your chest like wind through prayer flags. This is your moment, the one you've been sensing, but couldn't name. And if your heart knows the truth in these words, speak it aloud, in the comments. I trust the signs, I am ready to receive, because today, the door opens, and your journey begins. And now, in the hush between moments, enters the quiet power of number 18, a number that doesn't announce itself with thunder, but arrives with stillness. You won't see it blaze across your life like lightning. Instead, it lingers, soft, subtle, familiar. It appears when you least expect it, on a receipt, in a dream, on the edge of waking thought. A gentle tug from the invisible, asking, are you still settling for survival when your soul came here to thrive? 18 isn't loud, because it doesn't need to be. It speaks in echoes, in nudges, in the tender voice of your spirit, remembering who you are. In numerology, 18 is the fusion of beginnings and eternities, 1 and 8. The self and the infinite, the spark and the cycle. It is karmic momentum merged with spiritual rebirth. This number does not come to the unready, it seeks the ones who've walked through storms with quiet endurance, those who've held themselves together when no one else noticed. It is the number of the awakened survivor, the soul who has earned wisdom not by reading but by living. When 18 shows up, it is not asking for more effort, it is asking for more honesty, more alignment, more truth. Buddhist teachings remind us that true awakening rarely comes in noise. The lotus blooms in stillness, not in rush. And just like the Buddha's realization under the Bodhi tree, your transformation may arrive not as a blaze, but as a breath. Number 18 is that breath. It whispers that what you've called delay was actually preparation, that your waiting was sacred, that your wounds were not weakness, but sacred gateways to strength. You didn't break, you refined. You didn't lose, you learned to let go. Both Baba Vanga and Nostradamus spoke of inner signs, intuitive shifts that begin before outer change arrives. They both foretold of times when numbers would hold messages, not just for nations, but for individual souls on the brink of transformation. 18 is such a signal. It aligns with inner rebellion, the kind where you stop settling, stop shrinking, and finally step out of the loop you were never meant to stay trapped in. It calls for courageous self-reflection, for a loving exit from the cycles that no longer fit the frequency of who you're becoming. So if you've been feeling restless lately, if your routines feel too small, your choices too muted, your dreams quietly knocking from beneath layers of delay, that is 18 rising within you, it's the universe saying, there is more, and you are ready. You do not have to force it. You only have to say yes to what's been calling your name all along. This number is not a command, it's an invitation to re-enter your own life. This time fully. Now pause. Let the message land. Let 18 show you the places where you've dimmed your light out of habit. Ask yourself, what part of me is finished pretending? What sacred desire am I now ready to honor? And if the answer stirs something real in your chest, comment below, I am ready to rise beyond survival. I receive the path of truth. Number 26, harmony in motion. It enters not like a storm, but like balance returning after long imbalance. Number 26 is not loud. It is measured, grounded, intentional. It doesn't pull you into fantasy. It plants your feet softly back onto sacred soil. In its simplicity, it carries one of the most complex truths. Your outer life is only as aligned as your inner world. This number rises in your field when it's time to recalibrate, not through force, but through grace. It is the pulse of still waters that run deep. Numerologically, 2 brings the wisdom of duality, connection, cooperation, and harmony between self and other, will and surrender. It's the energy of sacred partnerships and conscious choices. 6. Its counterpart is the caretaker, the healer of homes, the guardian of values, the nurturer of peace. Together they merge into 26, the sacred architect of harmony. This is not the number of conquest, it is the number of conscious creation, the kind of building that doesn't exhaust you, but restores you. In Buddhist teaching, true Dharma is walked in relationship with self, with Sangha, with the world. The Buddha often reminded his followers that the inner path means nothing unless it also nourishes those around you. 26 aligns with this wisdom. It asks, are your foundations rooted in clarity? Are your ambitions tied to compassion? Or have you drifted too far from the truth of what really matters? Baba Vanga once predicted that balance would become humanity's greatest challenge. Too much fire, too little earth, she said. Nostradamus wrote of a time when people would rise materially but feel empty spiritually. That time is now, and 26 is the number rising to correct it. When it appears in your life, it is not just a sign, it's a correction, a call back to peace, a subtle realignment that allows your material goals to flow through spiritual filters. This July, if 26 keeps showing up in your orbit, on building numbers, dates, totals, don't brush it off. Ask what it wants you to rebuild, not in hustle, but in harmony. This number does not ask you to abandon your ambitions. It asks you to reconnect with your why. Are you chasing because you fear falling behind? Or are you building something that truly reflects your essence? 26 reminds you, slow is sacred, aligned is abundant, peaceful is powerful. So take a breath, tune in. What area of your life feels ungrounded but ready for healing? Where can you choose rootedness over restlessness? Comment below, I build from balance, I receive with peace. And let 26 walk with you, stone by stone, step by sacred step, as you construct not just a future, but a foundation worthy of your spirit. There is a power that speaks without noise, and it carries the vibration of number 22, the Master Builder's light. It does not demand applause, it prefers the hush of dawn, when possibilities stretch wide and imagination is still unguarded. 22 arrives like a silent architect inside your chest, reminding you that castles in the mind were never meant to remain clouds. They were meant to be carved, stone by mindful stone, into the ground of lived reality. In its presence, grand hopes are no longer distant horizons. They are blueprints waiting for hands disciplined enough, hearts devoted enough, and spirits clear enough to bring them into form. Numerology calls 22 a master number because it fuses mystic vision with earthly workmanship. 11 doubled, intuition multiplied, potential given structure. Saturn lends it gravity, the patience to measure twice, the endurance to lay foundations none can shake. Yet its frequency is not heavy, it is holy. It builds bridges between heaven and earth, inviting you to pour the light of inspiration through beams of steady action. Nostradamus foresaw twin twos rising during cycles of reconstruction eras, when dreamers would turn into makers of futures. Baba Vanga spoke of codes of stone and spirit that would awaken in those tired of waiting for miracles and ready to live them instead. If 22 is circling you now, the prophecy is personal. Your time of preparation is complete. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that the world's greatest stupas and temples were not conjured overnight. They were birthed through breath, steady inhales that placed one block atop another, and through exhale, releasing doubt with every hammer strike. 22 mirrors that truth, progress is found in repetition, devotion, and presence. Each mindful gesture is a brick, each compassionate decision, a beam, each moment of clarity, a keystone. Your life becomes sacred architecture when every act is aligned within a purpose. Mid-July's celestial currents charge this number even more deeply. As the supermoon brightens unseen corners, 22 ignites dormant plans and nudges your sleeping blueprints awake. You may find it on digital clocks, 2222, just as you're doubting yourself. You may notice it in totals at checkout, on building numbers, on page counts. Do not dismiss these sightings. They are invitations from your future self, urging you to ground your vision before the energy window closes. The universe is effectively saying, the tools are in your hands, the ground is ready. So take the subtle cue, sharpen your intent, sketch the outline, however rough. Choose discipline over delay, alignment over anxiety, devotion over distraction. Let 22 steady your pulse each time fear whispers that your dream is too vast. Remember, temples are erected by those who keep showing up at sunrise, long before the crowds gather to admire the finished stone. Now inhale, feel your spine lengthen with possibility, and ask yourself, with honest urgency, what sacred structure is asking to rise through my hands, and will I start laying its first foundation today? Number 16, Sacred Collapse and the Invitation to Begin Again. It comes quietly at first, a restless ache, an inner tension. You sense something is unraveling, but can't yet name it. That's how 16 arrives, not with violence, but with sacred precision. A job ending, a friendship dissolving, a belief cracking under the weight of truth. To the ego, it may look like loss, but to the soul, it is a beginning, wrapped in disguise. In numerology, 16 is often feared. It holds the power of 1, the self, identity, will, and 6, the nurturer, the emotional heart. Together they create a frequency that tests the structures you've built around who you think you are. When those structures no longer serve your highest truth, 16 gently or sometimes suddenly removes them, not to punish, but to liberate. This is not destruction, this is divine dismantling. Buddhist teachings remind us that everything built must one day fall, not because it failed, but because it fulfilled. All conditioned things are impermanent, the Buddha taught, and 16 echoes this law. It arrives not to take from you, but to strip away the false so that what is real can finally breathe. Astrologically, 16 aligns with Uranus energy, sudden change, awakening, revelation. Nostradamus wrote of 16 as a threshold number, marking eras when the world would be shaken to awaken the sleeping. Baba Vanga saw it as the quiet key hidden in karmic storms. She said, "Only through the crumble will the new rise clean." And that's the essence of 16. It doesn't destroy your life. It reveals your truth. In this July's energetic window, if 16 keeps appearing in dreams, on clocks, on slips of paper you nearly toss aside, don't resist it. Pause, reflect. What have you outgrown? Where are you staying too long in a structure built for a past version of you? Sometimes your next level requires letting it all fall apart. Not because you're failing, but because you're shedding. Let yourself release. Let what must leave, leave. The collapse isn't chaos, it's construction in disguise. In the rubble of what was, you'll find the blueprint of what wants to become. A life not built on fear, but on freedom, on truth, on sacred alignment. So breathe deeply and ask, what in my life must fall, not to destroy me, but to finally set me free? Number 35, the awakening of joyful evolution. There are numbers that disrupt, others that dismantle. And then there is 35, a sacred invitation to evolve, gently, joyfully, with grace. It does not arrive with pressure, but with possibility. It is not the thunder of change, but the song of alignment humming beneath the surface of your daily life. The kind of movement you feel in your bones before you ever see it in your world. In numerology, 3 is the number of expression, your voice, your gifts, your truth, made visible, and 5 is the number of transformation, the shift, the movement, the permission to explore. Together, they create 35, the frequency of becoming, of releasing what's rigid, so your soul can stretch. It doesn't force. It flows, like spring following winter, like breath after stillness. Buddhist wisdom reminds us that joy is not something we earn. It is our natural state when suffering is cleared and illusion dissolves. In that stillness, joy rises, not from what we have, but from who we are. That is the medicine. It appears when you're finally ready to stop hustling for your worth and start living from your wholeness. You might begin to feel subtle shifts, a restlessness that's not discomfort, but curiosity. A sudden desire to change your environment, your expression, your rhythm. These are not coincidences. They are the whispers of 35 calling you into joyful evolution. Not a rejection of the past, but an honoring of how far you've come and how beautifully you've outgrown what once defined you. Cosmically, this number carries forward momentum without the burnout. It says yes, move, but move with meaning. You're not here to chase trends or cling to safety. You're here to bloom. And Baba Vanga herself said, the soul speaks through longing, not logic. Nostradamus, too, believed joy was a sign of prophetic clarity, proof that the soul had seen truth and survived. So if 35 has been circling your field, appearing in timestamps, receipts, or even your dreams, it's not random. It's the universe saying, let yourself evolve. Let joy lead the way. You've carried enough, built enough. Now, it's time to live enough. Ask yourself with full presence, where is life gently asking me to grow, not through pain, but through joy? Number 44, the silent fortress. And now, we stand before the gatekeeper of all you've been building, the sacred double, the final seal. Number 44. It is not here to dazzle, it is here to anchor. It doesn't shout, it stands firm. This is not a number of chance, it is a code of endurance, a silent fortress made of intention, integrity, and inner strength. In spiritual numerology, 4 is the builder, the stabilizer, the patient craftsman who lays each brick with purpose. Doubled, it becomes 44, the master architect, the one who constructs not from ego, but from alignment. This number appears when you are ready to turn energy into embodiment, vision into vessel. It shows up when you are no longer here to fantasize, but to form. In Buddhist wisdom, true strength is not loud, it is steady. It is in the silent return to the breath, the daily rituals, the unseen devotion that holds your life together. 44 speaks of this path, of discipline guided by spirit, of foundations built not in haste, but in stillness, like the great temples carved into stone, not rushed, not forced, but destined. And the mystics knew this. Nostradamus warned that during cosmic realignments, only those with spiritual structure would remain grounded. Baba Vanga predicted that those who follow the repeating numbers, especially 4, are being summoned not to survive, but to establish something eternal, to build not just for now, but for lifetimes. When 44 circles you on clocks, receipts, page numbers, or dream symbols, it means your inner world and outer reality are ready to converge. It asks, can your actions hold the weight of your vision? It invites you to trade speed for stamina, chaos for clarity, and perfectionism for presence. So light a candle, place your hand on your heart, speak 40, not as a wish, but as a vow. You are no longer drifting, you are designing. This July, let 44 be your silent vow to yourself, to stay grounded, to rise with purpose, and to build the life your soul came here to live. Ask yourself, what foundation am I quietly laying today that my future self will thank me for? The sacred alignment has begun. You have just journeyed through 6 sacred numbers and 1 silent amplifier. But these were not digits. They were doorways, each one a cosmic guide, sent not to impress you, but to awaken you. You did not stumble upon this. You were summoned by your own readiness, by the quiet ripples of the universe that knew you are prepared to shift. This isn't about prediction, it's about permission to rise into the version of you that no longer waits for signs, but becomes the sign. From 18's gentle awakening to 44's unshakable grounding, these frequencies now move with you. They live in your awareness, and they will begin to shape what you allow, what you release, and what you are finally ready to receive. So breathe deep, let it land, let it echo through your soul. And if your heart heard this message, type it in the comments now. I am grounded, aware, and ready to build my sacred abundance. And if this journey moved something in you, support the light. Tap the thanks button, share this sacred energy forward, because in the old Buddhist ways, to give with purity is to plant the seeds of divine return. Until the next sacred message, stay awake, stay rooted, and remember, your breakthrough isn't waiting out there, it's rising from within you.